So we have 2 microphones. And this is to share best practices in your respective communities, workplace, your nation, as well as asserting jurisdiction open forum. So if we have 2 mics here, for those of you who want to share, you can come up to the 2 mics and open with the large group, to share with the large group. Does anybody care to share?
Did you win? Mr. Moose? What?
Oh, hi, Larry. Larry wants to share. I'm sorry, Larry. Okay, you have the floor.
I wanted to say hello, everyone. I'm Johnny Cash. I was unsure what this part of the meeting was about, so I had to go up and ask what this part of the conference is about, is sharing good practices. So I wanted to share some of my thoughts for you so that you can think about them. One is, this is not the first forum that I've been to where good practices are discussed. And I really get a little nervous when we start talking about good practices, because to me, good practices are those things that you have seen and witnessed here in the past 3 days, and that they're indigenous and communal in origin. They're ours. And sometimes the child welfare system, the provincial system, will ask us as Anishinaabe people to provide them with good practice ideas in indigenous child welfare. And they're asking us that because they're really stuck on how to do child welfare with indigenous peoples, families and children. So dugn dikite chiwen gomizing keeping ego undut tamay na git ay wapski e hajak shani bioge ego gi uta pinamagula owe this owe abinno chigi nen kai shina naga top mangit kiong bigi au so kin na indi e gitibenda kin na indi e kitish chige winan e we chega kwek kendeng owe wapski e awashime itoge ego kitan tamagona kipinda swini ewi chige ginendi to kai janish na bewi kinawint pain tamati ni bio mage gogi mukhina gonoma higagi gito atoyak gichima mam kastok nani ga gwe saga na simites we ni ge no chin tamo atang we saga na shugi to mayak. One of the things about best practice is those things that work for us as indigenous populations. There was lots of ideas, lots of programs shared here in the past 3 days. And I'm really impressed with the knowledge of our people.
Oh, he's standing there.
I'm really impressed with the techniques, the skills, and the social processes and customary approaches that our people use in protecting and keeping children safe and families together. I was really encouraged by the Cree birthing session. Very encouraged when I went to that workshop. They have really good practices. It just reminded me of the times when I used to listen gimojli to my grandmother as she was birthing Anishinaabe with Anishinaabe women in her house. It just reminded me of how comforting that was, to sit in that room and hear that this actually happens in this modern day and age. The other thing that was really encouraging is the presentation from Charlie. Kata Shindangaway with the birch bark scrolls, and how the birch bark scrolls that were written by our people long time ago, some of those are carbon dated to about 15,000 BC. So our people left us that knowledge. And if we could understand those types of things, those customary approaches, customary techniques and systems, family, if we go back to those things, those are good practices. If we assert our rights to the protection of our children, whose jurisdiction are we talking about? Are we talking about the Fed's jurisdiction over us? Or are we talking about the provincial jurisdiction over child welfare? Or are we talking about our own custom, inherent jurisdiction and authority over children? For that, we don't need no permission to exercise. And that's what I see of some of the programs, they're so encouraging. I can see from those workshops the lifespan programs that are required in order for our families to function, right from birthing to the most recent one I just attended on reunification. There should be programs along that lifespan. Why do I say that as a mad social scientist? Is this because the deconstruction of the traditional family system has been so deep. And to rebuild that, it requires an equal, if not more, powerful or assertive approach to reconstructing it. And that is why I say that. The way that we handle the social situations that we find in our communities has to be greater than the deconstruction that caused it. It's simple natural science and physics. The force must be equal to the demand. The same thing. The other thing I want to say is this: I'm encouraged by the leaders that attend these types of sessions. The color of my hair and the wrinkles on my face might deceive you. I'm only 29. But I've been around child welfare for many years. I love child welfare. I love working for our children, protecting our children. And many times I have seen leaders get up and talk a good political talk, but do not back up those words with action. And I have seen leaders get up here today, in the past 3 days, talk about what they've done to help their people. Now that's a true leader. A true leader. Not one that's motivated by the result of the elections, but one that is motivated for the quality of life for his tribal children. I really applaud people that do that. Don't get me wrong, leaders, I was chief once, and I should have never done it, because it is a hard job. I'll never do it again. I used to be the big mouthpiece in band meetings. I used to give the chiefs a rough time. And all that kind of, you know how it goes, eh? All that. I don't do that anymore because I know it's pretty hard. But I wanted to say that about our leaders, especially the Ikwewak, that are leaders. Grandma used to say, if you really want change in the community, talk to the Ikwewak, talk to the ladies, because they're the ones that have the customary responsibility for anything to do with family and social matters. Kaya that's in my practice in community development, I've always relied on Ichquewag to effect change. Keep it up. That's your customary duty. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing about child welfare is this. Child welfare is very authoritarian. Child welfare is very oppressive. Child welfare is very, very legalistic. And child welfare can be downright dictatorial. That's how the laws are written when it comes to child welfare. And they write them like that because that is how and I'm just going to say it, the white man uses its law against its people for the protection of children. And I don't know if we want to advise that type of system. Because they've been here in Manitoba, I suddenly realized sitting here that you have to have a place like the Family Advocate's Office in Manitoba. I was wondering why you had a place like that. And I also wondered why you had to intercede and develop and transform a child welfare system in the province to arrive at 4 authorities. I could not fathom in the most remote regions of my simple mind how that type of system had to develop. And then listening to the families and listening to the presenters and listening to the workshops, it suddenly landed on me like a ton of bricks. And the only words that I can come up with is, Manitoba, Anishinaabe, Indigenous folks in Manitoba, you are at war. You are at war. And those centers that you have developed are the reactions of a very hostile environment in child welfare. It's humanly incomprehensible that someone or something would do that to our people, but they are. It's unfathoming in my mind that 40 infants are apprehended at the hospital in a day or a month. What happened to us? Where's the warriors? And that's why you have these systems to be able to combat such a hostile environment. And for that, I applaud you, Kino, the people from Manitoba. Although our child welfare system in Ontario may be as hostile, at least we own the CASs. And if there's any hostility, it is us on our own people. So you really opened my eyes in the past 3 days here. One last thing I want to say before I sit down is this. I'm one of the advocates for education. I'm actually a professor. I taught for 12 and a half years. And I really promote education. But when it comes to child welfare, I wonder, and I'm a social worker, that's one of the faculties I teach, and one of the places where I got my degrees from is social work. And I know what I was taught in social work. And I always say that when I work with Indigenous people, nothing that I was taught in school has never had any value to me. What has value to me was the life teachings of my grandmother. That's more valuable in practice with Indigenous populations than the 5 years I spent in university. And I come to conclude is that whose knowledge are we studying? Isn't it about time that we as Anishinaabe people came to the intellectual realization in the exercise of our mind that there is such a thing as Anishinaabe knowledge? And that is what we should be studying? And if we can't do that, all of us social workers must have signed a code of ethics that allows you to practice that allows you to have a license to practice or call yourself a social worker in this province. And under those code of ethics is a section called cultural competence. And that section asks you as a professional social worker to practice your social work in a culturally competent manner. And what that means is that you have an obligation as a professional to understand the clients that you're working with and get to know their culture, because their culture influences their behavior, their thought, and their emotions. And if you're incapable of doing that, maybe it's time we as social workers tell the schools of social work that that's a requirement before you graduate or practice in Indigenous communities. That in itself is an exercise of jurisdiction. We have to start questioning the practice that we're promoting. And that our elders, we know we know Kranata Kanamage, okay, get way any Chewit Noki, Minda, or guys you no taste the way I've been known. Kinago, well, Tino Magana. Where any chicken enemy, where any gain you big it, Janish Nabe it. Me, yes, you in the main, go keep in, sit day. Ngagota is to get in Zaganashim Kaza. Me, great.
Thank you, Larry Jourdain from Treaty 3. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good afternoon. I really got confused whether I should come up or not. I wanted to talk about something that I didn't hear coming to this conference, and it's foster parents. I know we've got some good ones, and we've got some bad ones. I've been a foster parent since 1986, and I've been advocating for the children in my care. And back in the 80s and 90s, my hands were tied. I was left out of meetings. I tried to speak for the child. I had no rights whatsoever. I tried to include the parents and the grandparents, and again we were all pushed to the side. Monyash was telling us what we were doing, and I almost gave up many times. And I said in the 70s, because I'm a residential school survivor, that I'll speak for every child regardless. So I see this thing, bring our children home. But I think what we need to do is bring our children back to our people. We should be fostering them. They should no longer be in non-Aboriginal homes as of today. We should have Aboriginal workers, social workers. We've got so many with social degrees that's not even working. And then I go to a CFS office, I see a bunch of monyash. And then I go and pick up my foster check. Who's there? Immigrants. And what's happening is our children are losing our values because they go from home to home. And what do they learn? They don't learn our ways. I've already fostered 30 children. I'm still a foster parent. I got into council back in my community, and the next day I was elected, my foster children thought they were leaving us. And I said, no, you're not leaving just because I got into council. And I want to share some stories of some of my foster children, and I'm going to tell you what I've done as a parent. I don't like that term foster parent, because as a foster parent, I'm a parent to them. I'm not just a label. I had one boy, he was 12 years old, I raised him. 12 years old, he wanted to play hockey. I wrote a letter to his worker. His worker says no. So I went to the supervisor and I said, you know, we have this young boy who wants to play hockey. That's the best interest for him. Supervisor told me no. Do you know he went for testing, psychiatrist, psychologist, and you know what? He can't play unorganized sports. Why are you trying to put this boy in an organized sports when he's capable of not thinking that way? But I believe that boy, he could do it. That boy made AAA hockey and played for the juniors and went back to his community and set up a men's hockey team. And they told me when he was 12 years old, he couldn't play in unorganized sports. Then I had another young man, just most recent. He's real good in basketball, an Anishinaabe basketball player. And he was called down. Nobody was going to help him. But me as his dad, I said, you're going to get somewhere. So what I did is I went to this recruit me. He was in grade 12 already, and his coach wasn't even promoting him. And I got upset. I'd go there and I'd say, what's going on? How come no scouts are coming to see him? How come no universities? All these other basketball players, there was colleges coming to see them. So this white coach says, your boy's not ready. He's too immature. I said, no, he's not. So what I did is I went to the website really wanting to recruit him. And I put there, I registered it, cost me $1,200 American. And then we got videos of him. We filled out all the form. He got 4 calls: San Francisco, Washington, Minneapolis, and Rochester. 2 of them invited him to come and visit their college. And he selected Billingham, and he was there for 4 years playing basketball. And he got his degree. And he went to Alaska, Florida, Hawaii. He played all over. I don't throw my foster children away. When they age out, they live with me. I have my foster boy, I call him my baby, because I've had him many years already. He's been with me for 2.5 years already that he aged out. And just, we were talking about just bring your children home. We were talking about it and he says, you know what, Henry, I owe you so much money, 2 years of rent. I said, no, you don't owe me anything. You're my son and you can live here for as long as you want. I don't throw my foster children away. I keep them. I don't let them go on the street. I've raised many of them. And I'm just getting blank here. I had so much I wanted to tell you about. I'm a good parent. I never ever tell that they're my foster child. That's my child. This is my son. I never use that term foster. And I take up for them in a school. I take up for them anywhere. And as a foster parent, when I have a child, I get to know their parents. I get to know their grandparents, their aunts and uncles. I take them to reunions. I don't just sit back and get a paycheck, because that paycheck I get for them goes to them. Doesn't come to me. Miigwech.
Miigwech, thank you so much for your words. We have time for one more to share in this open forum. One more.
It automatically sent her back an email stating that she was away from the state to this.
Oce, memengo sat so kan sweden shikasan, Mike Dusky Nandunji,
Fight it then.
Kanamasa,
Concerns
Nui Ganinama Gichin and then Togobian. I'm very thankful to be here. In the last 3 days since I've been here, I've taken the time to sit back and just listen and, have that opportunity to learn. I am a helper for our children as well. My name is Anna Betty Achnibaneshkam, and I come from a small community in northern Ontario. It's called Martin Falls. It's on the Albany River. And my parents, they raised me out on the land. And we went to a small village. We spent our summers in a small village of Martin Falls. And there's teachings there that my parents, that they instilled in me. And because those particular teachings helped me in the years when I became a community leader and then also serving as a leader for Anishinaabe Nation. And the teaching was, to always prevent things from happening. My mom, what she would do is she would go to homes when she would see that a family was struggling and help the woman, help the mom. And my dad would also be there to help the young man if they seen that they were struggling to be a parent. And so I saw that as a small child. And later on in the years, as I continued, being a leader, this is what I wanted to do. And this is what I knew I had to do. I had to empower, not enable. I had to be proactive and not respond. And because some of those things that happen to us are, at the fault of regulations and legislations, and also our history and the impact of the history that we've been inflicted on by colonization. And it's no fault of our own. But what I wanted to share with you today is that I developed a program to deliver to our children in the schools, to teach them about sexuality and the importance of respecting their bodies and other people's bodies, because sometimes our young people become parents before they're ready. And for some people, having a child at 12 and 13 is not right. And it's, so we need to have those teachings. We need to bring those teachings within our homes and also within our schools so that our children can value themselves as human beings and their bodies, and to respect other people's bodies as well. I've been an activist for our youth for many years now, and it makes me really sad when I hear our young people say, well, the reason why I had sex with my boyfriend was because I wanted to make sure that he stayed in my life, or he threatened to harm himself if I didn't have sex with him. So we need to have those types of teachings for our young people. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I didn't see that in any of the presentations that we had. And I wanted to acknowledge all those who presented. There was such, so much knowledge. And I want to echo Larry's words that, many of our people do have such great experience and such great knowledge. And, and it's very encouraging that now we are finally in that place of having that. We're in that place where we are going to be bringing our children home. Miigwech, chmiigwech.
Thank you so much. I'd like to welcome up the AMC Women's Council for closing remarks. They've been strong and proud and making lots of noise up here with me, which has been really a lot of fun having them around. Bossy and all of that.
Yeah, there's some guts to it.
Our leadership, yeah, there you go. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Vera Mitchell. I'm the Chief of Poplar River First Nation. First of all, I want to extend my thanks to everybody that attended, who participated, and also all the staff from the Family Advocate Office, and our youth and our elders, our workers from the community, in participating in this conference. For a long time, first I want to acknowledge that what I was going to say has been said by that young man that's 29 years old, Jordan, and the young lady that spoke just a little while ago kind of hit. And also Brett Shelton, is that his name? Brett, he kind of hit all the points that I wanted to address in my closing. So I want to acknowledge that they say great minds think alike. So that's me. Taking credit for somebody else's work. But for a very long time, we knew that our children belong to us. Children are given to us as gifts. We've all read that, we've all seen that. They are what we call miniguiziwan. Ka miniguiziyang, the gifts of the children. And it is our responsibility to make sure they live a good life and they develop into a good person. That's our responsibility. In the 40 years I've been involved in politics, in education, as a community member, it is still a learning experience for me. And I learned that every time our people come together in our community. Like one of the things we did last week, and it was a real eye-opener for me. We got together and talked about bullying. And one of the stark realities about bullying is that it's a learned behavior, and it comes from home. You don't learn it in school, you learn it at home. And that's one of the things that was really a starking reality, because our parents accepted the fact that their children are doing that because they have learned it, and a lot of it from home. So we have to I think we have to really look at that, because like the lady said over here, you know, our children are having children, and it's sad, you know, that our young men and our young women don't respect each other. Our young men don't respect women, and vice versa. You know, women are not respecting themselves. It's very common for, say, a 16-year-old to have had 3 or 4 relationships. And it's sad that many of our young people have been in 3 or 4 relationships, and sometimes they have children, you know, with 3 or 4 different people. Like, what does that tell us about our lifestyle, about how we're directing our children, Are we as parents directing them properly? If we're not guiding them, it's going to continue. But anyway, the long and short of what I want to say is that we have to take responsibility for guiding our children. And we can't have this colonial way of categorizing all our problems and saying, oh, you can take a course in this, or you can participate in this. Our traditional ways is not a course that you could take and graduate from. It's a learned process. We have to learn and teach it from our elders, from the people in our community. Because if we continue to just pick at it, then it's not going to result in very good results. The system it's been said it's failed us all, and we're battling with the province. But I think moving forward, we need to look at how we can look at a process to address the jurisdictional. Nobody's going to do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. We have to come together and develop something that's working for us. We do have best practices in our communities. The 3 I know about, and I'm hoping we'll be able to share them the next time we come together. Sandy Bay First Nation has a system in place. Wewe Sikapo and Nelson House, they all have a way of doing things. They're asserting their own jurisdiction. Just hasn't been developed into a template. So next time we meet, I'm hoping we'll be able to share more of those best practices and move forward with a process, a template on how we are going to develop our own laws. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Chief Mitchell. My turn. But I just wanted to say thank you to our elders that have been here the past 3 days. Listening to, everyone that's been here and the different mindset everybody has, the experiences that people have, it really kind of goes back to what I was saying in my opening remarks on Monday about we all have it in us. We all carry some kind of knowledge. We all carry some kind of experience that we can utilize to work together and create that safe place for our people, that safe place for our children. This morning, we met as a group, our Women's Council. We had to discuss some issues regarding next week at the AFN. Some of the chiefs are going. But when we have these meetings, we always have these different things that are shared with us. And one of the things that really, really struck out with me today was the situation with our children and the experiences our children are facing. And that was the reason why I wanted to have people come up here and experience and share their experience, because to me, those experiences need to be heard. People need to understand what our kids are dealing with. And like I said, our children don't have voices because they're all under the age of 18. So they can't use their voices. They're put in situations that they dislike. And there's nothing they can damn well do about it. They just have to live with what they're given, where they're placed. Somebody's always making a decision for them, especially those children that are in care. And it's disheartening because the thing that really struck out was the thing that was shared with us about how four young boys that grew out of the system were dropped off at the Salvation Army. And it really bothers me because I'm thinking, you know, and that's what I said to the ladies, what if it was your son? What if it was your grandson? How would you feel if that was happening with your grandchild and your son? What would you do? So, to me, these experiences need to be put out there. People need to be made aware of what's really going on with our children, how they're being treated. There's so many horror stories out there. But is there anybody asking for those? And I like to say, I like to commend the gentleman that stood up, the foster parent. You know, I worked in a tribal council years back before I got into my position, and I worked in a position where I used to hand out the checks at the middle of the month and the end of the month for the foster parents. And I did it for so long, I knew who was there for that child, who was there just to pick up that check because you knew by the vehicles that pulled up. And it just kind of had me thinking about these kids and care and how that dollar sign is so important. Everywhere you look, our people are like a walking dollar sign. Sad but true. The almighty dollar seems to control so much, even within our own people. And that's no lie. I'm not going to stand up here and misinform you, but that's the truth. It has so much control, but it's also destroying our people, destroying our children. You know, I really hope everybody goes home today and, you're going to think about the last 3 days that happened here, and it's going to resonate in your mind of all things that have been said, things that have been shared. And I hope that you find it in your hearts to, continue trying to find that solution, trying to resolve those situations, putting yourselves in those positions that those children are in. Because when I think back to residential school and knowing that all our people had been, what they were subjected to as a child, and growing up and having those memories, anything that triggered those memories, and continue on in life for the rest of your life with that hurt and that pain inside. That's exactly what our foster children are growing up with also. Same thing. We still live in a world or in a country where our country, nobody will ever tell me any different. This is our country. We live in a place where discrimination is so normal, because that's exactly what's happening to us. Discrimination is what's destroying our people, because somebody else is always dictating, telling us how we have to live, telling us how we have to manage. And as a group, I told the ladies this morning, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting for what we can for our people here in Manitoba. I don't care who sides with us and who doesn't. We need our people to understand that we're trying to fight for what we feel is right. We're going to fight for our families and our children. That's what we're going to fight for. because I don't give up very easy. I just won't. Not when it comes to little children suffering and growing up that way for the rest of their lives, because that's just too much of that happening. And we need everybody on board to help us. So I also suggested at the end of May, we talked about some dates, end of May, beginning of June. We need to have a follow-up to this, but we need to involve our people. Let's not put a big price tag on this. Make it affordable. And I said, you know what? If all these people that came here, if your registration was paid for, well, you know what? You can pay for your registration come the end of May, but our grassroots people are not going to pay anything to come. There will be no charge for them because they're going to struggle to even just get there. And we need their voices. The 5 groups that were up here today, you know what? I commend them for standing up here and sharing their stories. I commend Florence and her partner for coming up here and sharing her story. People need to use their voices. And we need to give them their voices. That's what we need to do. That's the only way we're going to get to where we're going, is that voice that we have to give back to our people. And I'm not I'm not the kind of person that's going to stand there and do all the speaking for them. I'm not like that. I need to hear their voices as well. So like I said, we're going to plan this conference, and hopefully it's warm enough. We're going to do an outdoor conference. And at that time, I'd like to invite our grassroots people to come. And we need to make them aware. We need to educate them. Because if we're going to keep them in the dark, then we won't have their support. We need to make change here. This has been going on too long. Heaven's sake, I'm 58 now. This is still continuing on from the time I was a child. Our kids being taken. Are we going to do this for another 58 years? No, we can't. So we need to make it happen. Keep fighting for ourselves, for our people. But it's not just going to take us that are standing up here to fight. It's going to take everybody else to support us, to help us. So I ask you to support us. And if anything you want to know about what we're doing, you know what? Never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to ask. We have Karen Harper that's with us right now. That's our biggest support, that keeps us in line, informs us of what's going on. Contact her at the AMC Women's Office if you want to know something, and she always relays the messages back to us. So with that, I say thank you for being here, for sticking it out the last 3 days. Seems pretty bare out there right now, but you know what? You're all fighters if you stuck it out for 3 days, so safe travels home. Miigwech.
No, not yet. I'm so tired.
So I think we have one more day ahead of us. Up next, I'd like to introduce Arlen Dumas, our Grand Chief, to do some more words. And then we'll get started with our another day.
There was someone who came in and asked if this was going to
Right on.
It's always good to have a good sense of humor. So ego sepisis nista na pigis kwan. mamstay ni nagi tinasan og gimaga nakikiyaya miyo kasan gusto gipigis na gagado ay nagiginto tam nas kumawag kagado ay nagutagi pito ti chigagi piyaya mitsig piatsi mutsigi pigis ko ta go pigihaus win was medasin magan gitsna hon tu tin ay sipih taman mon pagitsanan mawigats kagi pagitsanan hopigaus win utse. I want to welcome everyone. I want to give tremendous thanks. I want to tell everyone who spoke, the presenters, everyone that's here, that I'm eternally grateful for your participation and for coming to share and participate with us. I also want to echo the words of my chiefs. You know, we are committed. We are vigilant, and we will continue moving in the direction that they have asked us to move forward. And I also want to reiterate that we need all of you to help us do what it is we need to do, and that we need to create that unity and that to combine our efforts to ensure that we're moving forward in the way that we need to move. You know, whenever someone comes with a prescribed concept, it always fails, right? And we always have to transform these mechanisms that are presented to us so that they reflect what it is we need and how we're going to move forward, and we will continue to do that. You know, as far as my Women's Council says, and as far as the Assembly says, we will continue to move forward. I also want to commend our relatives from all across the country that have come. Some of you have shared some very insightful things, you know, our relatives from the East Coast who focus on prevention. You know, I think that's something very valuable, and we need to examine that and take a look at it. You know, and maybe it's something we also have to take a look at. You know, I want to also commend my 29-year-old elder that got up and spoke. Better check your drinking water there. But I want to champion his words and the things that he said, and it's true. You know, sometimes we get lulled into this false sense of confidence. You know, I was told when I was yanked out from the bush, go and learn, go and read, and once you become as knowledgeable as we are, we can have a conversation. You know, well, I think the last 50 years have shown, you know, from our grandfathers and grandmothers who wrote Wabang that told us to prepare for tomorrow. They didn't have the skill set that we have today. They don't have the doctors and the lawyers and the accountants and the masters of social work and the level of expertise and acumen that we have today. Well, we know, and we go to the table and we say, all right, let's have a conversation. But then they tell us, well, no, you know too much. You have to follow the rules. Well, if they don't want to listen to us, and as the consummate professionals we are, let's see what our grassroots people tell us to say in the spring. Like my chiefs have said, we will gather and we will talk. Because as you hear, you know, the constructive conversations and the practical and approaches that we've taken to try and guide this issue in a good way, you know, I don't think anyone has said is unreasonable. We want to look out for our children. We want to protect them. We want to look out for ourselves. You know, I want to champion that man, that foster parent. I don't even want to call you, I agree with you, you're a parent, you're not a foster parent, you're a parent. I want to commend that individual. And I want to go back to the spirit and intent of what it is we're supposed to be doing, to look out for people, because we were told the spirit and intent is we want to work with you. We never once relinquished our jurisdiction, and we will continue to move forward. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and sharing. I want to commend my staff for their hard work. You know, the story of our elders. And I'm going to single out my elder here, senior painter. I know why your hair is darker than mine. Because he knows who the real boss is. He admitted it today. So the Creator blessed you. You don't have to have stress like me because you already know. the boss, as long as his wife tells him it's okay. But again, each and every one of you, gisagit na. I send out love to each and every one of you. I send out love to our children and to everybody. I wish you all, the best on your way home. I just wanted to, how many of you, show of hands, how many of you went to the gala last night? Let's give it up for the Wanipigao Fiddle Band. Wow. Those kids amazing. Those children are amazing, how talented they were. So collectively, again, let's share our knowledge, let's share our strengths and our principles and continue moving forward. And I want to commend our drum group here. I'm looking forward to hearing them sing and send us on our way. So again, Igosani Kinanas Kumutnawa. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd like to bring up our dear friends Wale Swain and Karen Swain to do the closing prayer, and afterwards we'll be followed up by the Spirit Sands Drum Group to do the closing song. On that note, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb really has to want to change.
Usually consider so music they go make na kan ke magan nena no me deu kindes
Abushu and quickich go kwedish casa sawi gnu panui magan.
I just want to share a little bit to start the fourth day, and I like that idea. That good Creator gave us everything. It gave us 44 laws to live by. And that happened just north of here. And the evidence is there on the knife that they used to cut the tobacco that came down in braid. And they cut 44 pieces and went back up. And then cloth came down, the width of a man's hand. Again, 44 pieces were cut, they went back up. The imprint of that knife is still on that rock. You can see it. And also a place where Nana Buro sat, waiting for that wolf. But those 44 laws that Creator gave us a talking lodge to talk about those laws. There was one done about 8 years ago at Saging. Before that, it was 200 years ago in the Alberta area. In that talking lodge, and then it gave us an action lodge. And you all know that one. Everybody knows that one. Because today you call it powwow. Dancing how proud we are being Anishinaabe. That's that action lodge. And then it gave us a teaching lodge where we teach about life in the Mendevin Lodge. And that's where we learn about the value of life. That's where you teach those values of life. And then it gave us an earning lodge to earn something. When we get that pipe, we're going fast in that Sundance so that we'll earn the right to use that pipe. Those 4 lodges Creator gave us. The only one that's not happening is that talking lodge. But we have the powwows going on. we have the Mandalin Lodge going on. Mandalin folks here. We're part Mandalin, part of Mandalin group. And we do our ceremonies and teachings now. Sundance. We do Sundance. So those things are happening. And you know, that's where we need to go to learn and to earn what it is we need to do. And that. We teach the parents in that teaching lodge that the parents are the first teachers of that child. Because that child will say what the parents say. That child will do what the parents do. And that. So that's why, as grandparents, we support the parents, but we don't take over. We just support and encourage them to love that child. We have 2 grandchildren, 2 granddaughters at home. And when we got home the other day, on Monday, they just went bananas because they missed us. They missed us, and they were just running crazy and hugging us and telling us how much they missed us and how much they loved us. And they do that. They'll do that again today when we get home, because they're missing us. And we miss them too. But I wanted to share those natural laws, and those lodges are there so that you become aware of that. And we need our people to come and take part, to come and sit and listen, to come and get clarification on something that's not understood, because somebody will have an answer. Because we're given everything. There's a solution to everything in our traditional way. We just have to go back to it and look for it. And it's there. Because somebody will know the best practice, best way to deal with that, to deal with whatever. So, I got permission to share this. We do that too.
I would ask your indulgence for a few more minutes. There's someone here who's made a big difference in all of our lives. Someone who is most humble and kind. And I might get in trouble because we're doing this, but in acknowledgement of your kind heart and your love and your leadership, the commitment you have to make change and to help our families get stronger, to encourage each of us every day as we do our work. And I see you work the hardest out of all of us. And in our traditions, a blanket means love, home, and family, and security. And to give you that encouragement and to let you know how much we appreciate and love you, Cora, we'd like you to come up and accept this blanket from all of us.
Come on this way.
This blanket is called the Storyteller. And our friend is carrier of many stories, a lot that are heavy on her shoulders. And may this blanket help to ease that burden.
Mike, can you do an honor song? we want to honor Cora.
I just want to say, Kitchi Miigwech. This was a surprise and a really wonderful honor. I always feel that everything that we do at our office is a collective effort, and we all work together to make things happen. And you know, it's our families, it's people suffering that you know, that we deal with every day, and we always want to do the very best. And I know that everyone has said a lot of powerful things over the last 3 days, but I want to believe that we're going to do better, and that we're going to bring our children home, and that, you know, there's far more movement than there's ever been. And I said on the first day that the success that we've had in bringing our children home, we've had a lot of hard times where other families we weren't able to help, and until we have all of our children home and we can end the suffering and encourage the healing, you know, there's so much more work to do. And when I had the benefit of going to university, my commitment and responsibility was to work hard, and I will always work hard, and as long as our people need help, I'm committed to helping. But again, it's all the people around me that support me and lift me up. And you know, these two individuals who gifted this to me, they started with me on the very first day. And I've had lots of hard moments. And just knowing the people out there, even people from other provinces, that they lift us up. And so this is a shared gift. So miigwech to all of you who've helped us along the way.
And that's how love works. You show it, express it, and just do it. And that's the way Karen and I, we believe in. We talk about this, and we've come to a decision to go ahead and do it.
So do you want to do that closing then?
What do you like to? You want me to close now?
I'm going to do a quick little thing, and then you guys do the prayer. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So hang tight, grab a chair. Okay, we got a couple of things here. Someone lost an earring. I was looking for the earlobe today. I didn't find it. But if you have that earlobe, come get the other earlobe. It's right here. Oh yeah. And then we also have a beautiful scarf from Lush Boulevard. We're going to actually draw for this. One-night stay at the Radisson Hotel, coffee mug, travel, sweaters, and Okichita or something, art towel and art decals. I'm sorry, apologize if I pronounced that wrong. I'll do that and draw in a second. But we did have some lost keys here. Yeah. So it doesn't look like a hotel room key. Just says keys found at Carlton Street entrance last night. Maybe house keys. Yeah? Okay, so there you go. Otherwise, we'll put them in the front when we time to leave. Okay, so we'll do a quick draw, and then we're going to get Wally and Karen to do the final prayer. Okay, you see? Not looking, not cheating. Okay. 093792. I'm going to go quick. Oh my goodness.
Again, redraw.
How are we going to do this?
Oh, look at you.
The bottle. Okay.
Redraw.
Okay. Oh, there's a water bottle as well that's lost and found. Feels like there's something else in here than northern water. But... Okay. You got it? You got it? 792, the last three numbers. You look like a winner to me. Two on the TV? Oh my goodness. Okay. What the heck? How's that even possible? Okay. 93213. Going fast here, okay? This might take a while. Uh-oh. 9322. Oh, got it? Yay, there we go.
Are those all yours?
These ones are.
Okay, I think that concludes our day for events. So we'll get Wally and Karen to do the final prayer. Please stand.
Somebody brought it to the table.
Haviusva. Imamananke. Amisa weven mino. Viimausa kulit jauma. Nungo. Age jättäs näin kistuang. Uega juna suojang avassanaago. Age nakkuna maakoina pookanu josma. Amidus keiki tuskaa veussimak. Age jätki antamunko. Aata vivita vimikuang. Aalestakaa hueveni. Aameni kaikki piti paasimat. Kaikit minuundang. Hauma. Kaikki mausa kunet jaat. Aapi nuutsiaktu vikiveaat. Age jättästäkaa hueveni. enemiga, Timokimagak, Hage get away and it's in the song gap of Yank, or an it we soak that Yank, Hage get Yakamedi Mwang, Hage get an engage, which Yank get up and old cheat a picky vet, Hage get away enemy, Bemish Mount Tortabank, Hage get Reinsne, they do the seaman, they get the seaman. Alles to go get Muma, Chumpi Magakniwe. Hage get a penalty to knock to any witness. Hage get away any Anigan. Hage get a nation when I say. Alles we know got is in the bond. Hage Sigung. We know we must go to yacht. We are on a case at what we got geese must go to yacht. Hage get to go away and we know me happy. Hage get away and Chimino Muset and Sname. Alles genau Yomaga Gipisat. Hage get as honest in my joke. Alles Maga is copiat. Hage get away any Umiknaoya. Tunit the Wanik, when it's in the Muset. When it's in the Giat and the Gipionti Pasiguat. Hage get me with Emission. Aga gets Mokit the Magian. Alles get to go away. I was Nagamun. Hage get give me my young one. When it's in the Minusemaga quite anigan, and he gave that. Hage get me what's to on. Me what's get.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you. Get home safe. If the Spirit song singers want to sing another song that you're up to do that, that's okay. In the meantime, get home safe. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your input. Thank you for everything. I love this little drummer right here. This makes me really proud to see this little guy over here. Give him a hand of applause. Take care, guys.
Whose phone is this?